Okay. All right. So we have started officially. Okay. So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
In the East Coast of the U.S. and in Asia, almost noon to you guys.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good day.
Well,
yeah.
Whatever. Well, today we have a very unusual interview here. We have 4 panelists, and well, they all belong to the same line. There are 4 generations of executives, one on top of each other. So let me start with Gary. Okay, Gary Lee, who's in Hong Kong right now. You have to say hello. Say hi, Gary.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening.
Yeah, then.
Do you feel lucky?
Bob?
Yep.
Yeah, you have to say something in order to
trigger
the recording. Otherwise, your face won't show up. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we have JuinnWen.
Hi, greetings from Singapore.
From Singapore. How come you show up as James Chia?
Huh? Really?
Yeah, your ID shows up as
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Weird.
Yeah, and then we have Dr. James Chia.
Okay.
I'm from Singapore. Hey, JuinnWen, you're taking duplication of it, the reverse.
Okay. Okay.
So we have 4 generations of executives here in our group here. Very unusual, and they're all
accumulate.
No, they're all, what should I say? They're in the financial field, money field. Okay, so what we try to find out is, these are 4 guys, no question, and then finance area. How come they all became Nu Skin men? Okay, but before we do that, let's start with Gary. Tell us something about yourself, where you grew up and where you went to school and all that.
Hi, I'm Gary, and I grew up and got educated in Hong Kong. And after graduation, joined the financial industry. At a young age of 25, I was sent by my bank to Tokyo as an expatriate to explore and expand the foreign exchange operation in Tokyo. And I stayed 12 years there. And in total, I actually spent 27 years of living and working overseas before returning back to Hong Kong in 2014.
Okay. And Bob?
Yep. I was Gary's wife, Amy, was my stockbroker. I grew up in Washington, D.C. and worked in finance. Went to 2 Ivy League schools, and my hobby had been investing. I paid for the 2nd year of Harvard Business School by shorting Coleco stock on Christmas Day. There's a Cabbage Patch Kid phenomenon. You always should short these things on Christmas Day, and I made about $20,000. It paid for the year. And so after graduation, I said, well, I'll just do what I kind of love doing. And so I went into investment management, and I worked for T. Rowe Price, a big mutual fund. And I was Amy's client. And when she was introduced to Nu Skin, again, by someone, I think, the wife of another financial person, a Citi banker, I was her second call after her mom. And, I wasn't interested in the business. We say we came for the immunity, we signed on for the annuity, we stay for the community. That's kind of my short story. But I was very sick in Hong Kong. Hong Kong at that time is not very healthy. It's the seat of all pandemics, as we're finding out this year. And I was attracted to the supplements because what you buy in the store is what I call multi-level markup. has not very good ingredients, and I was very impressed with the quality. My wife was impressed with the quality of the skincare. We were not interested in the business at first, and we can circle back to that on how you can activate someone like us to wake up, because we make $500,000, sometimes $1 million a year US, and we may be working really hard and not have much of a life, but we do make good money. So there's a trick to kind of getting us motivated into this business, and Amy did that trick. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. Now, both Gary and Bob are being very humble. Gary graduated from the University of Hong Kong. Okay, I don't think I could get in that university with my grades. All right, and Bob, he says what, 2 degrees from Ivy League school? Yeah, one is from Yale, and he's got a Harvard MBA. Okay, so these guys are heavyweights. All right, JuinnWen, you are just as impressive as the others.
So I was born and bred in Singapore, but I only have one basic degree in London School of Economics. I was fortunate enough to be sent by the Singapore government on a scholarship. And upon my return, again, I was very lucky to serve under Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. He was then a young minister starting out at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Of course, he's now the current Prime Minister of Singapore. And after some time, I decided I wanted to go out into stockbroking. A completely different, it's completely new field for me. Went straight to London, came back to Singapore. In total, I served 15 years in institutional stockbroking. Fortunately, Bob was my client on Southeast Asian stocks. I was introduced to the business by Amy, who was his broker on Japan stocks. Okay? As a guy, obviously, I have no interest in skincare. And in fact, I thought supplements was voodoo, voodoo stuff, I don't know who would believe in supplements. But what really caught my eye was the profile of the people who did the business, like Gary, Amy, yourselves, Marguerite, and all the people up the line. So I reckon if the professionals and business owners like yourself were into the products, using them, recommending them, they must not only be safe, they must be effective. And if you then do the business part-time and eventually do it full-time, the compensation must be not just worth your while, but must be robust and has longevity. And clearly it's been proven. You guys are in your 70s and still enjoying the kind of income which even active people cannot enjoy.
Whoa.
Not yet.
You're giving up secrets.
Oh, okay.
Watch it.
I thought that's our secret, right? Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
I really saw that that it was a sure win business in all my years of looking at investments. This is the only sure win opportunity that I know of. So I focused on the people who were doing the business. That told me everything rather than go into all the nuts and bolts. Okay, that's
okay. We'll go into that a bit later. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, James, or should I call you Dr. James?
No.
I think again, JuinnWen is rather humble too. He was a Singapore scholar. The government gave him the scholarship to go to university in the UK. All right. So, all right, James, your turn.
So I'm in this illustrious group by accident, because I actually wanted to make the army my career. I hated studies in school. So when I did my national service, I wanted to become a career soldier, but I thought I better get a university degree. And I don't know how I ended up studying so much that I spent 8 years studying. I came back with a PhD in civil engineering. Then I worked in the construction sector as a contractor until age 40. I remember at age 40, I hadn't been on leave for 5 years. We work alternate Sundays off in the construction industry. And it was, a perfect midlife crisis. So I did a switch into to sell insurance, to go into financial planning. So that was a major career change. And for someone who didn't want to study, I ended up studying so much. I did a master's in applied finance. I got my CFA qualifications and my financial planning certifications. Then I added Nu Skin to my so-called portfolio about 20 years ago when Nu Skin first came into Singapore, and JuinnWen spoke to me about it. I was 46 at that time and went full-time after 7 years. That's my background.
Okay. Well, all right, now, listen, guys. James is a doctor in civil engineering, and then a master's in what else? Yeah, he can't decide what to do with his life. Obviously, keep going to school.
Like you.
Like me, yeah. Make up my mind what to do. Anyway, okay, Gary, let me start with you now. How do you get involved in New Skin?
Well, to summarize in one word, serendipity. Nobody called us. Actually, it was my wife, Amy, who went back to Hong Kong for a business trip. And literally on the street in Hong Kong, she bumped into her high school and university classmate, an architect in training. And during the short conversation, they did mention that, they talk about New Skin, that apart from great products, they also offer a global business opportunity. And they've already started their operation in Japan, where we were still working at that time. And so that's how it all started. But preceding the event, Amy and I already have a very strong and clear desire and intention to make a switch and change out of the financial industry, because we started to have kids. So we no longer want to work like 15 to 20 hours a day in the office. Our health was going downhill rapidly. I was hospitalized 2 times due to pneumonia. And also although life at that time was great, Hong Kong, there was facing a lot of uncertainty due to the return of China after 1997. Okay, so I guess the lesson is that if your intention is strong, you're absolutely certain what you want in life, the universe will hear your message and send the angel to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right.
For the first reaction, right? Well,
yeah.
We've never done business before, and we have zero exposure to direct selling. So I just look at the whole thing from a finance guy perspective. Yeah. And I think it's good that I don't have any previous exposure, so I can look at it as it is, look at New Skin as it is, instead of holding some distorted perception or past baggages. Yep. So from a finance guy, I just look at, well, what are the risks? What are the potential rewards, right? Secondly, does it provide me with any leverage or a future recurring income? And the third thing is, does it give me a global exposure or just restrict me to a certain city or region, right? So we look at it and said, well, our first reaction is that, well, it's too good to be true, right? But risks are low, returns, if it works, returns are high. So that's why we immediately go for it, because like every day we stay in the office, staring at the screen for 15 hours a day, looking for asymmetrical deals. That is transactions that are like super low risk, but if it works, will give you multiple times of return. And we look at New Skin business as well. Yeah, if it works, it's going to be like cover or provided for all aspects of what I want in life. So we look at it as a total solution in life. So without any hesitation, we just jump into it.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Bob, how did you have to unmute yourself?
Yeah. So I was entrepreneurial. I left Harvard Business School, took entrepreneurship there. There's a lot of interest in classmates in entrepreneurship. But I was working, in a big institution, making good money. But I didn't like going to meetings, the endless meetings in corporations and being sort of, you're not really your own. I wanted to be my own boss. And soon after being introduced to New Skin, like 3 years later, I left the big companies and set up my own investment management boutique in Hong Kong. Timing is everything in life. I did it the first time in 1997. I launched an Asian fund right into something called the Asian Contagion, and it was kind of stillborn. But at that point, Amy had done the key thing, which is to drive the line. So I was just interested in immunity. I'd had cold after flu after cold in Hong Kong, and couldn't afford to be sick. My wife had skin problems. Hong Kong is polluted, and At that time was polluted and always very humid and hot. And the skincare, she'd worked for Christian Dior. They don't put the kinds of ingredients into what, new skin. So she was impressed and her skin cleared up. So we had a really good product experience. In 27 years, I've had 2 colds. There were some other issues, some other health issues that she had that really impressed me. So, it's basically the founder, Joe Chang, a traditional Chinese, he took the roots of traditional Chinese medicine and married it to the highest standards of Western pharmaceutical practice. Really did some amazing things with some major health problems we had. And I got very curious, but I wasn't interested in the income side. We make good money. But Amy said, who do you know in Japan? We're opening in Japan. I gave her 5 names, and that's the key, is just to ask people for 5 names. Please help me. These are the 3 most powerful words in any language. Tetsudate kudasai in Japanese, or please help me. And I helped her, and I gave her 5 names, and she came back and said, well, Mayumi, a housewife, friend of yours, is going to become an executive. And she kind of exaggerated a little bit, but but she said, you realize it's not a pyramid scam. If Mayumi becomes an executive and you're not, she'll roll up past you. Fear of loss is measured to be much greater and more powerful than greed for gain. They call it FOMO, the fear of missing out. And that is the key to building this business with anyone, not just, a double Ivy graduate, but a taxi driver. How do you motivate someone to get engaged on the business? Is ask them who do they know, find someone who's going to, engage with the business at any level, and come back to them and say, it's okay, it's time I will help you. It's time to start working. And that's what she did. For a long time, I was what's called a pancake executive. I believed in the products, but not the business. I marketed to people like JuinnWen. I showed him the skincare in my hotel room in Singapore. He tells a funny story about that, not knowing what I was
KL, Regent Hotel.
Oh, was it a KL? Okay, you're right. It was. And so, I believed in the products. I didn't believe in the business. You have to borrow that belief and talk to people about all sides of the business. Just people teased me. They called me Amway Bob. It was more worse things, but I knew the products were good. And so I just carried on. I built up, users, but we were making enough to pay for our products. And what changed was the 2008 downturn. My boutique asset management company did well through it, but our clients all redeemed. We were losing, between the business and a big house in Hawaii and a mortgage, $50,000 a month US. And necessity is a mother. And I began to engage on the business side. I worked with Amy in Asia. And then, we're finally starting to build and get traction in the US. The US is on fire for the first time in about 25 years. Since you guys really lit it on fire in the late 80s and 90s, it's been kind of quiet, and it is on fire right now. So anyone on this call, if they have people in the US, I will help you. We will help you and do 3 ways and help to get them launched. And I've been pretty busy with this, and it's fun.
Okay, all right. JuinnWen.
Okay, so let me start with a bit of a backstory, how I was first introduced to Nu Skin. I think this was in 93 in Malaysia at Regent Hotel after a long day of looking at companies. So Bob says, come to my room at night. I want to show you something. Right? I mean, how many of you will go to a room and another guy say, I want to show you something at 9 o'clock tonight? Okay, I'll go. Right? I'll knock on the door with some trepidation. I go in, there are a few other men there. Yeah, I say, okay, I think I'm quite safe. So he demonstrates the products. And as a good broker, I showed lots of enthusiasm, despite not knowing what the hell he's talking about. Next day, I go back to Singapore. I have a whole box of skincare product. My wife said, what the hell? You never use any skincare product. You buy a whole box. I said, no. I said, this is my top client. He asked me to buy, I'll buy. How much does it cost me anyway? So we put the stuff on our face. But we didn't really use it consistently. It was only years later, this was 92, years later, when Amy came to speak to me in January 1st, 2001. My wife then went back to the store and said, those were Nu Skin products from, 8 years ago. And then we squeezed the thing. We said, this is marine mud, the green stuff, right? But she remembered one thing. She said the lip balm works like a dream. So if that product is so good, there's something going on in this. So anyway, to cut a long story short, fast forward to January 2nd, 2001, Amy called me, given a name by Bob to call me. So we showed up for the presentation. There was every reason for us not to show up because my whole family had gone around the world on a 1 month holiday, and we only got back to Singapore on the 28th of December. So you can imagine a month away, the house is in a mess, first day of school, first day of work. Who would go to some presentation not even knowing what the hell it's all about? So anyway, I showed up. In all my years looking at finance stuff, I know all the finance stuff, but I never knew such a thing called multi-level marketing existed. But I just look at the facts. As I said earlier, I saw a spa company in a sunrise sector. Not knowing anything about skincare and supplements was not a disadvantage because I just look at the people like yourselves who are already in the business. That told me everything I knew. So at that time, I had also been thinking where I was going in finance. And it was still sunrise, but I knew with the margins being compressed on commissions, it was pretty soon going to be sunset. So my philosophy in life has always been, if you think the Titanic is sinking, don't wait till after dessert. I think you should skip the main course and make for the lifeboats now, right? So I started to plan. I said, let's do this. But I think one of the things that Amy said, the presenter, Gary's wife, said at the close, which is very good, was what is the risk of doing this business? And I think most of us, especially in Asia, we answer that question by saying there's a lot of risk. I don't know whether I'll make it. I don't know whether my friends will join me. Oh, my husband think, oh, my friends think, and we shy away. But I said there's no risk because there's no capital involved. You only have to buy products and use on yourself. There's no inventory. And you get a global business. My God, unbelievable. Now, the very reason I joined stockbroking is also the reason I joined Nu Skin. I joined stockbroking to make money by applying leverage. I don't have money to put in as a young man, but if I do big deals, big numbers, obviously, even if I take a small amount, I can make big money, right? Same thing with Nu Skin, is even better. I don't require any particular skill set. I don't even need to know how to design or R&D skincare or supplements or manufacture or distribute them. Company does all that. I merely have to go and headhunt for people who share my vision. I said, this is the stuff that dreams are made of. And like many of us here, I had to pinch myself to make sure it's real. But the second part of the question is the part that Amy asked, which to me is far more important. What is the risk of not doing? I think far too many people focus on the risk of doing, which is actually zero, thinking they would fail. But the risk of not doing, whenever people ask me this question, I say, if I didn't do Nu Skin, today I would have less hair, and of the lesser hair I have, more of it will be gray. I won't look as young. My tummy will be bigger, and my bank account will be smaller. And the most important thing, I would not have peace of mind about the future. So to me, peace of mind is the most important thing. So I think to everyone listening in, maybe you're very young, maybe you're only in your 20s, you don't think so much about passive income. You think passive income is something that the uncles and aunties talk about past maybe their 50s. But actually, once you can solve this fundamental issue, where you when you go to your ATM and you press and the money comes out and it gets refilled every month, you are free to do other things. So to me, peace of mind means really having the passive income to do all the things you want to do, not worrying whether next month you're going to have a problem or the year after that, or do you have enough money for your kids to go to school? What after school? What about your retirement? What if there's a medical issue? So to me, Nu Skin, like what Gary said, is really a complete life solution. I still pinch myself and I say we are so lucky to be shown this. I mean, nobody in the right mind will go out to hunt to do multi-level marketing. We would go out to be a property broker or an insurance agent or, I don't know, do some investment. But nobody in their right mind say, you know what, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to look for the best MLM company to join. So it's really pure luck. But when the luck comes, you need to seize it.
Okay, James, how did you get recruited into a Nu Skin?
Okay. 2 months after the New Skin opened in Singapore, I think, but we were the 34th country to open. But anyway, 2 months after New Skin opened in Singapore, JuinnWen called me. And I tell you, I didn't really know him that well. We met maybe 3 times in the last 5 years. Okay. But he called me and he told me this company had just come to Singapore and it signed up to do the business. Now, firstly, I had no choice but to listen to him because I owed him a favor. Many years back when I first came into the financial planning business, I was desperate looking for people to talk to, and I didn't know who he was. I had the audacity to try to do financial planning for JuinnWen, and he very kindly gave me lunch and bought me lunch, in fact. And when you start, you're new in a sales job, just to get an appointment is such a big relief. So I remembered way back there, this guy had, humored me. So I thought I've got to listen to him. Second thing was curiosity. Why was someone like him, doing what I thought was a housewife business, like selling Tupperware for extra pocket money? He obviously didn't need that money. And so when I set aside some lunch times, which are very precious for, I only have lunchtime to meet clients. I set aside some time with him. And after a week, I told Jackie and I, let's do it. I was positive from day one because I saw who were involved, the kind of people who were involved. I had very little interest at that time. So I didn't do this kind of research, like looking into the future, like JuinnWen and Bob and all that. To me, it was more, why not? These guys are doing, what does it cost? Let's just go along with it. But I can tell you, a year after we joined, I remember coming back from a run with Jackie, my wife, and we were saying, hey, where did all this money come from New Skin? It was so easy to have said no because we absolutely didn't need it at all. And we sort of like, was almost a breath of relief that we had said yes. So that's how we got started.
Well, actually, New Skin is in the MLM industry, right? Part of MLM. And unfortunately, MLM has a very bad reputation. Okay? I mean, like I said, it has a reputation that precedes it. Okay? So once people hear about MLM, ooh, right? Ooh, no. So how did you guys get over that? Gary?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I have zero exposure to MLM. I didn't even know such an industry exists. And that has advantage because then I can start as a blank piece of paper. I mean, I just asked myself a very basic question. If it really works, is it going to give me the kind of things that I want in life, such as dynamic health, such as more control of my time and how to spend it. And very important for people in Hong Kong, the freedom to go anywhere I want at the time I want, right? So I look at the possibilities and say, it works. I mean, the system itself are already there. And provided you work hard, you produce the results, then the leverage and the recurring income will give you all these freedom in life. Yeah, so that's how we immediately decide. But of course, we also did our due diligence because a few months after we actually signed the letter of intent, there was a global convention in Salt Lake City, Utah. At that time, I didn't even know where it is, but we said that we have to go, but no matter how far it is, because we want to like experience ourselves, meet the people, and get a good feeling, and especially the guiding principles of the founders and the top management about how they running the business, what are the dreams and vision to bring the company into the future. And we like the people, we like what we see and hear. And most important thing is that that philosophy is very much rhyme with Amy and myself, basically to be a force for good in the world. Yeah. So it's like after that, it's like there's no looking back. I always consider myself a lucky guy, and it's like JuinnWen said, luck is really important because I bump into new skin instead of knew this or knew that, you know. Yeah. So that makes a really huge difference. Yeah, no time wasted.
Very good, Gary. Now, Bob, you always mention MLM. You know, you say, okay, MLM means multiple level markup instead of multiple level marketing. How come you guys are so willing to pay multi-level markup? And you guys, once you hear MLM, you start or multi-level marketing, you guys run away. That's a problem, isn't it? Most people don't understand. They think that, you know, they're very familiar with multi-level markup and they accept it.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
they never consider, you know, multi-level marketing, I guess because of its, I don't know, some bad apples or whatever. You know, once people at MLM, you know, oh boy, you know, they treat it like the plague. You have to unmute yourself, Bob.
There's some feedback that goes on, so I try to turn it off when I'm not talking. Same as Gary, I had not been exposed to it. We were really we came for the immunity, right? And the product quality, and that, you know, Amy met me for a tea after we, you know, gotten the product. She did the six, you know, the 6 levels, 5%. I kind of was impressed with that, but not that interested in the business side. But then she showed me the multi-level markup that I tell people, you know, when they go, oh, it's an MLM, I say, which MLM do you buy your toothpaste from? Is it CVS or Walgreens or, you know, Watson's or Manning's? It's multi-level markup. So, you know, the basic thing, the product quality, if it's a good MLM and it's very good product quality, you will get higher quality products at a better price. In Nu Skin, about 80 to 90% of people are just customers. They're not, you know, franchise owners like us crazies, and they, you know, they benefit from that. The other thing is, once I started studying it, you know, I am a student of business, and I looked at the history of new business structures. MLM started in the 1950s. So did a business called franchising. And franchising was a new business structure, and it really appealed to returning veterans in America from the Korean War and World War II. They'd worked in a pyramid called the military. They didn't want to go into corporate life. And they you know, there was a guy named Ray Kroc selling these Golden Arches franchises. And, you know, and pretty soon there were silver arches and bronze arches, you know, promising a sandwich shop and a burger shop for a lot less. You know, the French fry machine didn't work, and the bronze arches, they just skipped off with your money and flew off to Tahiti. Franchising was almost banned in 7 states in the United States in the late 1950s, including the state of Hawaii. It was the Wild West. It was easy to start a franchise, a low barrier to entry. Open one shop and then use other people's money to buy franchises. And now franchising is over 50% of retail sales in North America, over 50%. All right, what's happened? The business is mature. There's an industry association. People know how to pick the golden arches versus the bronze arches. There are books. You go to bookstores, how to choose a franchise, franchising for dummies. MLM started about the same time. The second company in the industry was Amway, I believe. But it's even worse. You know, what they are is a virtual franchise for free, not $1.5 million you'd pay for a McDonald's or $250,000 for a Subway or a Starbucks. It's free. I mean, most MLMs are free or nearly free. So it costs nothing to start an MLM, even less than a franchise. So of the 1,000 new MLM companies that launch every single year in North America, 5 years later, 995 are out of business. It has a deservedly bad reputation. But I think, in particularly, everything that is online is being accelerated by this COVID, you know, thing that we're going through. And suddenly people are open to a virtual franchise and uninterruptible income from home. This is our time. And it's the time when suddenly network marketing is going to go from whatever it is, 8 or 9% of retail sales to, you know, eventually 25 and 30%, as everyone is going to need a plan B. in this disruption and in labor market. So one of the best books is Don Fela's book, The 45-Second Presentation That Will Change Your Life. It's free in a PDF form on the internet. And the first 4 chapters explain very clearly that for normal people, there is no alternative. Tina, there is no alternative to be free except MLM, and a good MLM. Look, this group here, all of us are overeducated. We would be successful in anything we did. But for a lot of people, and you know, I just watched a debate, a presidential debate. America is torn right now by an incredible divide that has developed in our country between the haves and the have-nots. And for those who don't have any capital and don't have super education like we do, and are willing to work and are coachable, MLM is the answer. And that's what I love about it, is you don't have to have a double Ivy League degree. In fact, it gets in the way.
Sure.
Okay. Well, what do you have to say about that, JuinnWen?
Okay, yeah, first, I think I'm not in the overeducated category. I went to the LSE precisely because I only needed to do 11 hours a week. And I'm not sure I even fulfilled that 11 hours a week. Yeah, okay, so I think all the guys here, all the guys I have met in Nu Skin who come into the business, we always look at the business first. It's not like, wow, the products are so great, there must be a big business behind it. Whereas my coming from was, hey, this business is great, but the business can only work if the product or service supports it, because that's the bedrock of any business, right? So firstly, I would say if it was a direct selling company, I would not get involved because it's still selling time for money. Even if it was an MLM, but with only say 2 levels of payout versus 6 levels, and the leverage was not great, I wouldn't do it. So to everyone listening in, the professionals and the business owners come into it because the minimum goal they are aiming for in Nu Skin is $10,000 US per month of passive income and multiples of that. That would then make it interesting, okay? And you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be a business owner, you can all make it through the power of the leverage. So when people ask me, what you are doing as a finance person, surely it's so far divorced from what you're doing now, selling skincare. I said, no, actually it's the same. Because I said in MLM, when we look at MLM, I say in life, you're entitled to your own misinterpretation, misinformation, prejudices, and biases, but you're not entitled to your own facts. There is only one set of facts, and the facts stack up in favor of Nu Skin then and more so now and into the future, as Bob said. So I said, as a finance person, I always look for investments which are mispriced. If what you see is a hole in the ground, but I see a subway station coming up or MRT coming up, I would buy all the property around it because it will go up in price. But you see MLM, I say no, I see global franchise business. I see lots of professionals, lots of business owners doing it part-time and doing it full-time. And they say MLM, multi-level marketing. I don't like that. Why? I don't like the multi thing because you are a parasite on your downline. I say no, on the contrary, your downlines can make more money than you, okay? But I said, why are you so proud to think that you are only having a single level of income when all the financial planners and all the billionaires have multiple streams of income in multiple countries? So I look at MLM not as multi-level marketing, but make life meaningful.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, for myself,
Okay.
if I don't have to worry about the money coming in every month, I was able to use this money to feed myself, my family, and put my 2 girls to Cambridge University without dipping into my reserve, see my mom any time of the day, watch my daughters play basketball, go on holidays without a care in the world, knowing that it's done. You know, whatever income I need for the next 20, 30 or how many years is done. And then after we are gone, it passes on to my kids. It's a bargain, isn't it? So I think we are truly, to echo what Bob is saying, because of what's happened, because job security is probably at the highest risk, and also business viability. We truly are at the confluence of auspicious factors going forward. And that's why more and more people are coming in to hear what we have to say. If not for COVID-19, we might not be here. But then if not for Zoom, we might not be doing this. But because of the things all coming together, we truly have a worldwide audience, and we can truly do this business on a global basis instead of just local. And yeah, maybe I might come over to Australia one day. I might go over, but now we don't need to. It's instant. So I think the sun is shining for us. Best time ever.
Yeah. All right, James. You had mentioned that you have never been exposed to MLM, right? And in Singapore, I think MLM is sort of, looked down upon. So what are your feelings, when you finally got involved?
Okay. Well, I actually didn't have a negative impression of MLM because I was in the life insurance industry, and that was a multi-level structure, of recruitment and compensation. But at that time, MLM had just been legalized in Singapore. The laws had been changed to define what a legal MLM was. So, I told JuinnWen at that time, oh, it's legal, is it? So you can't make much money. No, at that time, I didn't need the money, but I was really, really curious as to why all these successful men, like yourself, you're a PhD, Dr. Lang Chow, and so many PhDs up the line, and JuinnWen, Bob, Gary, and Amy. Why were people like you involved? We really had to take a close look at that. But my main concern was my reputation. That if I recommended bad products or it was a Ponzi scheme, it would badly affect what little reputation I had. But again, I saw directly JuinnWen, Bob, and Gary, and I said these guys would have put the company through the checks already, so I don't need to do all those checks. And true enough, along the years, as we see the way the share price has gone up and how stable the company, had done all the checks. The other thing I saw at that time was that this was really a serious business, because in Japan, which was the largest market at that time, 2001, 70% of the business builders were men. So these were the breadwinners. I thought, okay, this is a business for serious people. Then it should be okay. But I wasn't looking for a serious business. I had no huge targets, and honestly, the idea of just creating $2,000 Singapore dollars a month recurring income in retirement just seemed like a good idea. Why not? I had no idea what was involved, or how difficult it was, or how much fun it was. It turned out to be a lot of fun. But I think the clincher was, this topic is about housewives, or women's business. I think the clincher was, it was my wife who was keen. Okay, so Jackie was keen. So, you men know, you just salute, and and I went along with it. And then I soon got hooked into it, and found out it was actually a great financial plan for retirement. So that's how we got started.
Okay, now you raise a good question, James. Most people, once they heard the name Nu Skin, they automatically think that this is a cosmetic company, right? Must be a business for women. Okay, and it's a matter of fact that a lot of the new Blue Diamonds, Bob, they are a lot of are women. Okay, so
yeah, this time.
Yeah, how did you guys? What do you think of that? I don't know. We have here 4 men who are all actively involved in a women's business. How do you handle that, or how do you explain that, Gary?
One of the X factor that appealed to both Amy and myself is that Nu Skin is an open platform and a business opportunity for all. irrespective of your race, your religious belief, your education background, and obviously not your the gender as well. So I never look at the new skin business as whether, should a guy do it or should a lady do it? I mean, I don't mind that actually I am the only guy doing the new skin business. It's just like me going to a yoga class, or 90% of women around me. Wow, that's great, you know? And I'm used to a role less travel. I mean, when I got married at 24, a lot of people were trying to talk me out of it, telling me I'm too young to get married. And 25, when I got a job assignment to Tokyo, people just tell me that I'm not ready. It's too big a job. I mean, they're gonna eat you up. And of course, in the new skin business, are the same kind of perceptions, or I mean, people are telling me, no, not this, not that. But the thing is, I'm responsible for my own life, and I know what I want to get from my life, right? So I think that's the main thing. Yeah. But my closing message, I mean, whether it's you are the audience, you are like a business-minded guy that feel that you are responsible to provide a good life for your family and your kids, or you are at-home mom that have priority over like running the family and raising the kids, but still love your husband very much. I only have this message is that looking into the future, nothing is sure except that there's going to be increasing uncertainty. Even after the COVID-19, we're going to have the AI and the robots coming, which is going to impact across almost every industry. So like no job is safe. So why put your eggs all in one basket, or why put all the responsibility on the shoulder of one person? You know, any platform opportunities that give you that are low risk, high return, provides you with leverage and a recurring income and a global exposure. I mean, go for it. I mean, and I challenge you whether you can find a better platform than new skin in all those aspects. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, Amway Bob.
So, I mean, I was interested in the supplements to begin with. And so that for me, I was attracted by the science of it. And skincare didn't interest me. My wife had a good experience with it. I started using a few things because Hong Kong is polluted and I had blackheads and things. So I started easing into it. And I realized once I engaged with the business, people will spend 10 times as much money on how they look as how they feel. So, you know, it is the bigger opportunity. Although, you know, we're unusual in the health and wellness MLM industry. We're pretty evenly balanced between the nutritional and the topical. So, yeah, my portal of entry, and most people will have like one, possibly two products that they're passionate about first. Yeah, and for us, it was the nutritional stuff.
Okay, now JuinnWen.
Okay, so
When you
I
heard
think
about this women's products of skincare, you said, "Wow, this is great." Can you
actually
share?
that's what I said. Actually, that's what I thought. I think most men, when approached on this, are turned off by the idea. It's skincare. I said, wow, it's skincare. I was turned on by the idea of skincare. Why is that? I think men only outspend women in a few categories: watches, cars, probably computers and smartphones. In all other categories, the women outspend the men. So if you want to do a business, always find a business where the women, they will cut out anything else, but they will buy skincare. Right, Margaret?
Yes.
So in these difficult times going forward, if you're not getting your bonus, maybe you will delay buying that new car. Maybe we won't go to Europe. Maybe we won't buy the Chanel bag. But skincare, oh no, you got to look even better during these very stressful times, right? You will not cut back on skincare. So I was very bullish about that. And I could see that the whole basis of the company was based on science. one of a kind science, whereas the rest of the skincare was based on, honestly, is just marketing, nothing more than that. So once I understood that, wow, it really opened my mind. And when I started, we only had skincare with supplements to come. Then we added on weight management. Then we added on home beauty devices. And in many of these categories, a lot of people will ask me, oh, so how do you compare your skincare with XYZ company? I said, you know what? In many of the categories, we are in a category of one. There is no comparison. That's why it's such a beautiful business. And I think, if I may quote LeBron James, I think those of you who don't know LeBron James, basketball superstar of the LA Lakers, they're playing against the Miami Heat. I'm glad we're doing it today because tomorrow I'll be watching the finals. Tomorrow's the game. and LeBron James said, focus on the main thing. What is the main, okay, for him is winning championships. What is the main thing in Nu Skin that you need to focus? Is it skincare? Is it supplements? Is it, I don't want to do skincare. I don't want to talk to people. You know, I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I don't like to let my husband or my friends know. No. The main thing you need to focus on is what this can do for your family. Can it give your family the kind of life, the future life, which no other vehicle can? Then you better look seriously at it. So I really look at it after all these years of understanding it and understanding why the successful people become successful in this. They're all united by one thing. They see Nu Skin bringing their family to a place in the future which is highly desirable, which no other vehicle can. And this is how you should focus on Nu Skin, not the fact that we're skincare or supplements or having to talk to people or rejection. That's not important. If it is worth it, you will do it. If it's worth your while, you will do it. Yeah, that would be my message.
Well, Dr. James, I guess to you, the financial planner, income is very important, right? So,
3 eyes.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
4 eyes.
Actually, let me just add maybe 3 points to what has been said before. First of all, I saw this just as a plain business, a plain simple business. I remember JuinnWen used to say more than once. He used the analogy of, you know, selling Victoria's Secret's underwear. And he said, you know, I mean, if he had franchise, if he had the opportunity to do that, why not? You don't need to be a woman to, you know, to sell something that is in huge demand. Second thing, actually, if you think about it, very few of our products are actually exclusive to women. You know, skincare, healthcare. I mean, the last I checked, men and women both have skin. And the men's market is actually the more untapped market. It's a huge, huge market. Okay. The third thing that we should consider is that the men can recruit women. I think it's harder for women to recruit men, you know, but it's easier for men to recruit women, especially today when you tell me more and more women are doing it successfully. And the fact that women do well is absolutely not surprising at all. You know, not because it's a woman's product, but because of the qualities that these women have in abundance. Women have in abundance: empathy, enthusiasm. You know, we are pretty sort of like laid back men. We don't get all effusive. You know, women do. You know, the effort that they put in. I mean, the effort women put in, especially effort. You know, women are incredible multitaskers who will do whatever it takes. Actually, we're quite afraid of women. They're pretty ruthless. They do anything to win. Which is why, you know, all of us here, I can say for Gary, Bob, and JuinnWen, we are terrified of our wives. And we're so glad they're in this business with us.
So, okay. So I can say that, you know, all 4 of you got involved mainly because after you look at this business, now I'll talk about the company and product later on. The most important thing is there's no downside.
Yeah.
When you're going involved in this business, no downside, right? I mean, unlike opening up Golden Arches, you're talking about millions of dollars to get started. And I don't know whether you guys look at the as a law. I mean, I've never done any business before, but when you open a business, you always have to go borrow some money to get started. And you always see that, oh, it will take me 2 years, 4 years, whatever, to break even, right? You guys, you guys in finance, very common, right? So, okay, I opened this business. It'll take me X years to break even. Here, you can get started with very little capital, right? I mean, that's a common thing, isn't it? For all four of you guys agree to that. No downside. And also, the company is a solid company with a great lines of products. Whether it's products for women, for men, that's immaterial. They are good products for both men and women. That's the most important part, really. You know, Bob likes the supplements a lot, right? And well, she likes the skincare products. I like the skincare products,
Vitamin,
right?
the Pharmanex.
Yeah, and I like the Pharmanex products. You guys, everybody likes the Pharmanex.
130,000.
She scans at 147,000.
That
That's
was the highest. That was the highest.
So anyway, so we do have and also this is a global business. See, if you look at this panel, I'm in the East Coast, Bob's in Hawaii, JuinnWen and James in Singapore, Gary's in Hong Kong. And a lot of our panelists, they're all from all over the place. So this is a global business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so if you sum everything up, it is a very, very solid business opportunity, whether you're a man or a woman. You just have to listen and understand what this is all about. Anyone care to comment? Now, I won't call anybody now. Any volunteers?
Agreed.
Okay, there is actually in the chat, if you notice, that somebody asked a very interesting question. A person named Kenny Tang says, how can you get into the business? That's kind of strange. Maybe he hasn't joined yet.
Who introduced you?
Yeah, whoever introduced you, Kenny.
Who
is the
invited you
one.
to this call? You know, ask that person.
Yeah. And in the chat, there's a question. What to answer when so many of my friends said that if multi-level marketing already run for a long time, it is more difficult to search new member.
Oh, saturated. I think he's
Yeah.
thinking, oh.
Anybody have an answer?
Okay, maybe I'll pitch it. When I first started in the business, a lot of my friends or a lot of prospects say, this will never happen in Singapore. Singapore is different. We will never buy any products from multi-level marketing, and our people will never do multi-level. And you know what I said? I tell you something, in a year's time, you're going to tell me everybody has joined Nu Skin and the market is over, which indeed they did. And we've been having this conversation year in, year out, 20 years later. And I said, you know what? My uplines had this conversation 40 years ago. And we are going to have this conversation 10 years later, another 10 years later. It can never be saturated. Look at the numbers. They keep growing, right? They keep growing. And maybe I'll just point to one thing. At the low point in the stock market, just March, I think Nu Skin stock price was maybe about $14, $15. Last night it closed at about $48, $49. Now that's almost what, 4-4 increase. Is that the stock price movement of a company that's getting saturated? No way. And I find it's very interesting. People only ask this question in relation to multi-level marketing, but they won't say, you know what? I think the market for Estee Lauder is over. I think the market for L'Oreal is over. Skincare is saturated. Look at the number of Korean brands again. Why is it? Why is it they only ask about Nu Skin? Do you think Amazon will stop growing? No way. Amazon, we look at it in 10 years' time, it will be many times bigger than today, right? Apple is not saturated. So Nu Skin, we are far, far from it. I think we could be having this conversation 100 years from now. The answer will be the same. I mean, we won't be around then, but the answer will still be the same.
Okay.
Right?
That's a great answer. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay.
And is there any more questions there?
No, that's it. Only one question. Only that one question. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope it answered the question.
I'll answer how to get started. It's a simple
Okay.
business. Join, use, share. That's it.
Yeah. And I think if I want to share is now because we have Zoom, we're so much more international that you can listen to as many training opportunity meetings as you want.
No, Bob is conducting.
Yeah, Bob, and also Facebook too.
Yeah.
You can go on Facebook. You have, you know, OTGs, you have Alan Nagal's, you have Bob's has a training every week, you know, so lots of people have trainings.
Yeah.
It is so good. And then we run, you know, right now, actually we have not new, let's say they're 2-3 years old. They decided to run an opportunity meeting every night, 7 o'clock. Bob knows, Jen and Grace. And then they said, other than that, we really should run a training every week too, every day. So we're doing Monday through Friday. And I says, okay, I will be watching you guys, but I need you guys to run it. So I figured that would be good training for them to do it.
Oh, that's known as leverage too. Okay.
Okay, leverage. Okay.
Okay, I mean, if I may just add one more thing. I think for those of you who watched this, who found that the insights shared have been very interesting, for those prospects who didn't manage to come in for whatever reason, when you do send this video to them, I think you should frame it by saying, these 4 men have all come in to replace their breadwinner's income. They are not doing it just because it's fun to put things on their face, right? And they are from finance. Finance people, you know, they look through the numbers. Don't you think, aren't you a little bit curious that why they are doing this? And they're not just doing it one time, but they've been doing it for decades. So I think you should frame it before you send this video out to your prospects. And then when they're interested, please bridge them with your experience uplines. I think that's my message for everyone. So that this session will have hopefully good repercussions beyond just the present group of people listening.
Yes.
Mm.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you all.
Very
I would
good,
like to
very
do
good.
a closing sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
As all of you know, before the COVID-19, Hong Kong went through more than 6 months of social unrest. And then Hong Kong was because they were right next to China, was the first city that went into complete lockdown. And it's still not yet completely out of it yet. So all businesses in Hong Kong, irrespective of what industries, suffer greatly. The difference is only whether they have already went bankrupt or still barely surviving, covering the most basic costs like utilities. But year to year, my Nu Skin income actually increased by more than 25%. So all I want to say is, look at the end result. Once after years of hard work, you've built a global network of business builders and partners that have bigger dreams than you, that have more capable than you and more hardworking than you, just like the 3 gentlemen, JuinnWen and James and Bob Howe. Your life will never be the same again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Excellent.
Quick happy birthday. Shall we sing to Marguerite and call it a night? It's now past midnight your time. It is your birthday, and it must be wonderful to turn 50 yet again. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank
Yay!
you.
You're wonderful, Marguerite. We love you. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you. Well, this is great, guys. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I really don't know what to expect, but I think that's a good idea, you know, for four guys talk about how come you're doing a women's business, especially with your backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
You should be locked in your office looking at a computer screen every moment, watching for stock movement. But you're doing the women's business?
Now we have the new NutriSential. Take care of all them watching the computer.
Oh, this blue light,
Blue light.
blue rays, yeah. But
Have
anyway.
you guys are senior. Have you seen any before after photos we can use for the bioadaptive
Tomorrow
NutriSentials?
night, Bob. Tomorrow night. We're
Right.
talking about NutriSential. We have lots of before and after stories.
Perfect. I'm getting requests.
Yeah.
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 All right.
There are people that not before and after, but you use it. Most people who use the whole package, 3 weeks, you see a difference.
Cool.
Your face
Amazing.
becomes so clear. You have to, you know, Yuka Ono. I'm gonna mention her name. She is, she's
Over 60.
over 60. She looks like she's 30 right now. You know Mina Kondo's first level?
Well, anyway,
It's amazing. It is amazing. I think she'll be on tomorrow night.
The price point is compelling, and the fact that we're doing a sample on Black Friday at $25 cost sample. We
Yeah.
haven't done
I just heard today. They're going to have some samples for sale for executives October 25th.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the rumor I heard. Yeah.
Right.
okay.
So we're going to stop recording first?
Yeah, let me stop it.
Yeah.